Hello from New Zealand, and thank you to the Global Forum on Nicotine organisers for inviting me to contribute a little bit to this year's online version of the GFN, which is usually held in Warsaw. And I'm sorry we couldn't meet in person. I'm talking about why science should always trump ideology. But first, my disclosures. I have never received research funding from any tobacco or vaping product company. Many years in the past, over 10 years ago, I had received consultancy fees from pharmaceutical companies. My Centre of Research Excellence, with a focus on Indigenous sovereignty and smoking, is funded by a grant from the Foundation for a Smoke-Free World. The content of my talk, however, is totally my responsibility and should not in any way be seen to be reflecting the positions of the Foundation for a Smoke-Free World. So I'd like to start the talk with a quote from Thomas Kuhn, who in 1962 said, "The history of scientific development is replete with examples in which bad theory has been preferred to no theory at all, and, as a corollary, that regardless how inadequate an accepted theory may be, it is an essential precondition for its rejection that a manifestly superior alternative be available to replace it." Well, we're lucky in tobacco harm reduction and tobacco control because there are many theories. We're not at a loss for theory, and scientifically, that gives us plenty of opportunity to reduce the disease and death caused by using tobacco in a harmful way. Testing theories, debating and critiquing the concepts and claims based upon proposed theories, that's what science is all about. It's part of the scientific process. An essential part of the scientific process is also striving for rigor, validity checking, and checking for bias, which can distort the research results. The extent of attention paid to bias varies across scientific disciplines. In addition to noting biases inherent in research methods, such as asking leading questions or doing an online survey, and then you've cut out anybody without computer access or computer literacy skills. These are biases. Some disciplines require an almost reflexive essay on researcher bias. That is, we as researchers have to say how our personal beliefs relative to the topic and perhaps our personal experience even has influenced the way we are looking at the topic, our choice of research design and analytic method. Systematic reviews sometimes include assessing risk of bias, but they hardly ever extend to considering the ideologies of the authors and co-investigators. Other disciplines like public health and tobacco control have gone too far the other way and have all but dropped concern for researcher bias. It's okay as long as you maybe put one thing in your paper, in your limitations section. Unless, of course, it's a bias that can be used to silence debate, suppress competing science and innovation. Imagine how credible a paper would be, for instance, a paper claiming that vaping on net will deliver more harm to public health than benefit. Let's say a paper that uses modeling, and this is just an example. I'm not referring to any particular modeling paper or authors. How credible would the finding seem to you if the author had to declare in the acknowledgements or disclosure section that personally they hate vaping, that in fact they have never used a recreational psychoactive substance at all, including even coffee, because of their religious belief? How credible then would you see the study. I mean, it might make you look harder at the methods section. I'm not saying that having religious beliefs precludes people from doing research on any topic. But I just think that as readers and recipients of the research, we have a right to know what researcher biases may be in play. Now imagine a paper that claimed that the majority of people want vaping heavily restricted. For example, a paper that interviewed key stakeholders. Now, key stakeholders are said to understand and know their communities in depth, and they can be seen to reflect the views of the community. So it's a quick way to kind of take a poll. But how credible would the conclusion seem to you if the authors spelled out that they only interviewed people they knew, and people they knew were committed to the same ideology as them, that nicotine is evil and should eventually be completely prohibited? How would you think about that finding of that study if you knew that? So, should science trump ideology? Well, it's not that simple. Scientists are not free of the baggage of ideology. We all have our unique set of cultural, perhaps religious, perhaps political ideologies and beliefs that shape our interest and the formulation of our research questions. It shapes our choice of research design and theories that we use for the theoretical framework underpinning the analysis. Science can't get away from ideology, but what we can do is demand more honest disclosures by scientists of their personal beliefs and ideologies that is biasing the results, or that's sending it in a particular direction. And they need to do that when they apply for funding and when they present their results. So thank you for inviting me. I look forward to the debate that we're going to have, and look forward to an in-person global forum on nicotine in Warsaw in the future.